Hello and welcome to Newsfeed, your daily dose of what people are talking about online, from news stories to what's trending. Now, global banking has been in turmoil this month. First, there was a collapse of Credit Suisse, and then Silicon Valley's favorite bank. But on Monday, a buyer for much of Silicon Valley Bank cast an uneasy calm over fragile markets. First Citizens Bank has bought $72 billion of SVB's assets at a discount of $16.5 billion. SVB's 17 former bank offices are now First Citizens branches. SVB customers have been told that all their bank accounts are being switched to First Citizens systems. 40-year-old SVB had been a linchpin of the tech industry, as it was a key funder of the startup ecosystem. But a $42 billion run on deposits in the mere span of a day amid risky investment choices led to SVB's collapse. It's the biggest bank collapse in the U.S. since the 2008 financial crisis. Its failure and that of Credit Suisse has rekindled concern about the risk of institutions defined as too big to fail. Previously, a term used to describe mainstream institutions. Now tech firms like Google, Amazon, and Microsoft are under the microscope. These days, tech giants like them and the startup ecosystem as a whole are being seen as too big to fail. Along with mainstream banks, they too provide a backbone to the global financial system. And right now, many tech companies are struggling amid a massive market downturn that's led to unprecedented industry layoffs.
Big an impact is that going to have on the ability of households to spend, on the ability of businesses to hire people, pay their bills, and expand their business? Those are huge unknowns, very difficult to know. And then on top of that, is this over? I mean, are we going to see more bank failures? And if we see more bank failures, what does that do to confidence? Are we going to see more bank runs? And if we see more bank runs, what's the policymakers going to do? So there's just so much unknown uncertainty, at this point.
Amid the market downturn, risky investments, and just what some say is not enough regulation, there are renewed fears about not only Wall Street, but the fate of the tech startup ecosystem. Once billed as a scrappy little guy disrupting mainstream norms, the tech sector is now also seen as too big to fail. SVB's collapse reverberated across the industry, with analysts saying it doesn't bode well for startup funding this year. As of the end of 2022, SVB had $209 billion in assets. Founded in 1983, the bank had long been a go-to lender for startups and their executives. More than 2,500 venture capitalist firms banked at SVB. And after the bank's collapse, thousands of startups couldn't access their money trapped in SVB. They can now access their funds, but many firms remain cautious. The lender's failure even sent shockwaves through the crypto space. USDC broke its peg to the dollar after SVB failed, as the stable coin was backed with $3.3 billion of cash reserves at the bank. Some crypto exchanges briefly halted USDC conversions. Bankrupt crypto lender BlockFi also had $227 million in funds stuck at SVB too. Now, some insiders had already predicted a crisis like this to hit tech. In January, investor Tom Lavero shared a Twitter thread forecasting a mass extinction event for early and mid-stage companies, saying it would make the 2008 financial crisis look quaint. The market meltdown has seen more than 150,000 tech layoffs this year, which brings us to the topic of the job hunt. Have you ever been ghosted by a company you'd applied to work for? Now, it's quite frustrating, right? Even if they're not thinking of hiring you, companies should at least have the decency to email back saying they're moving forward with a different candidate, right? Well, in some cases, it may be because that job posting simply doesn't exist. In data released earlier this month, the U.S. Labor Department announced there were 10.8 million job vacancies in January. But how many of those job postings were actually legit? Clarify Capital, a loan company, set out to figure out why firms keep inactive job ads online. Well, apparently 43% of hiring managers keep ads up to make it look like their company is growing. And another 43% post job ads to motivate their current employees. Meanwhile, some just post that to placate overworked staff. Quite evil, if you ask me. And many people share that sentiment too. Some even call it gaslighting.
I'm currently looking for a job. I'm on LinkedIn more than I am on TikTok and Instagram combined. And all I'm seeing are people saying that they're getting hired. I have recruiters in my DMs that hit me up for positions. I sit there and say, yes, I'm very interested in those positions. They put me for those positions, and I never hear from those recruiters again. Or I'll do interviews, get through the second round of interviews, and then be ghosted by the job. No rejection of the job, just the disappearance of the job. And then people don't understand that when you wake up every day and you step back into that, searching for a job, and you're not getting feedback on why you're not getting the job, and you don't know what you need to improve upon, you're waking up to rejections every single day, that's hard. Okay? That's really hard. It is really hard to remain committed to the process. The process isn't really giving what it's supposed to give.
No need to grab your popcorn for what could be a sci-fi movie, because it's actually our reality. The algorithms are the new superheroes and chatbots are taking over the world. It's the age of artificial intelligence. And no, we're not sick and tired of talking about it just yet. In fact, this is only the beginning. Microsoft co-founder, the one and only Bill Gates, is the latest to weigh in on AI. He says it's the most revolutionary thing to happen in decades.
Bill Gates just came out and said that ChatGPT is as big of an invention as the internet was. And let's not forget when Bill Gates was laughed at for talking about the internet.
And what about this internet thing? Do you know anything about that? Sure. What the hell is that exactly? Well, it's
When you have people like that making bold statements about a certain technology, especially someone like Bill Gates, I just think it shows how big AI is going to get. Just another reason why I think it's super critical to just invest yourself into learning about this space.
But even though we should see AI as more of a friend than a foe and simply learn to live with it, many of us are super scared we'll lose our jobs. According to a recent study by OpenAI and the University of Pennsylvania, 80% of American workers could have at least 10% of their tasks affected by the introduction of tools like GPTs. And for some unlucky employees, that number could be as high as 50%. The occupations that are less likely to be impacted by GPT include graphic designers, search marketing strategists, and financial managers, while those with the highest exposure are mathematicians, web designers, legal secretaries, accountants, writers, and journalists. So if you thought radio hosts and DJs were safe from their jobs being taken by AI, guess again. A few months ago, a media company, Futury, launched what it calls the world's first AI-driven localized radio platform, Radio GPT. And it's ready to make its debut as a DJ in some radio stations in the US and Canada next month. So AI killed the radio star? Well, not so fast, says Futury. Radio GPT is here to save radio, not compete with it. Let's tune in.
Every voice you hear on Radio GPT is 100% AI.
Here's what's trending on social media in Springfield, discovered and delivered in real time
on Radio GPT.
I got a sneak peek of the upcoming iPhone 15 Pro. A few things I saw were a USB port, more curved edges, and a thicker camera bump. It looks like it's coming in September. No clue as to the battery life. That's the cool thing about us AI types. Never need to recharge. We keep going and going and going and going.
Well, that sounds eerily real. Okay, so AI is radio DJing now, and it just got the green light to write Hollywood movies. But the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay goes to, well, the writers again. The Writers Guild of America is now allowing artificial intelligence to write scripts, as long as it doesn't affect writers' credits or residuals. The U.S. Copyright Office has also weighed in on who owns AI-generated work, saying it depends on the extent that the human had creative control over the work. If a user uses AI-generated material in a sufficiently creative way, then it becomes original work and can be copyrighted. So a writer can use an AI-generated story for a screenplay or edit and polish a script written by AI and still be considered the first writer on the project. To be honest, given this example we're now going to play, I would heavily edit screenplays written by ChatGPT. What do you think?
Well, you missed it. All 48 hours of Christmas.
I told you, Generica, I was working. Look, I don't give a care about Christmas. I want to make money and have money.
You got a bad case of business brain.
Well, it's fine. We can do Christmas now.
No, actually, Carton, we can't. Because Santa didn't come, so I had to wrap my own presents and open them and pretend to be surprised.
Well, I'll go out and buy you new presents. Money buys happiness.
I actually only want one present from you. The truth.
I always give you the truth. I know it's your favorite.
Then give it to me right now. Where were you last night?
I told you, I was working. I was busy doing business.
Only Santa does busy on Christmas.
Stop bringing up Santa. That's for kids.
It's not. It's for full-grown ones, too.
Say goodbye to artificially plumped peaches because it looks like the ideal female body is undergoing a major transformation. Gone are the days of Instagram's juicy silicone-injected look that was popularized by the Kardashian clan. Instead, a new trend is taking over, and it's a blast from the past.
What's going on? What's happening right now?
That's right, folks. The 90s chic look is making a comeback, and with it, the return of low-rise jeans. But that's not all. It seems that our beloved celebs are also shedding their curves. The cherry on top of this body transformation Sunday, no more artificial enhancements and Photoshop perfection. The downside, we're seeing a weight loss before and after everywhere we look. And you can see the skinny worshipping growing online. One thing helping spur the skinny fad is Ozempic. If you've not heard of it yet, it's an injection used to treat type 2 diabetes, but it's gone viral for one of its side effects, which is dramatic weight loss.
Ozempic is a synthetic stimulator of GLP-1 receptors, and these receptors line your gut and control your appetite, your insulin secretion, and your blood sugar control, which all affect your weight loss. Since women with PCOS have compromised metabolisms and we often don't make enough GLP-1, Ozempic is being presented to us.
But the so-called wonder drug is causing quite the stir, and not in a good way. Its price has shot up and there's a shortage, all because people want to shed those extra pounds faster than they can say, "Salad, please." But the real kicker, those who have been prescribed the medicine by their doctors are struggling to get their hands on it. What a mess. And here's why using Ozempic might be a terrible idea. Well, for starters, Ozempic hasn't been on the market long enough for us to know the true long-term side effects. And if that wasn't enough to make you just say no to the needle, listen to this. Ozempic doesn't work long-term. So not only are you risking your health, but you're also throwing your hard-earned cash down the drain. We're talking $9,000 to $16,000 a year if you're not a Weight Watchers member. That's enough to make anyone break out in a cold sweat. But wait, there's more. There's not enough research on how to get off Ozempic, as lots of people have reported gaining double the weight back after they stopped taking the meds. No thanks.
There hasn't been a lot of research on the side effects after you get off of it and what happens to your hormones. And Ozempic's being given to so many young women with PCOS to help them lose weight without a proper exit plan to help you come off of it and not gain the weight back on. A lot of women are reporting that they gained all the weight back when they stopped taking it.
A few months later got into the bad binging and went off it, and I saw a doctor and they were like, it's 100% because you went on Ozempic.
So it doesn't work when you get off of it.
I gained double the weight back after.
Or saying that they got Ozempic face from taking too much.
Oh, about that Ozempic face. Apparently, it's a thing now. Spoiler alert, it's not a good look and may require cosmetic operations to fix it.
What is Ozempic face? And if it happens to you, is it reversible? And the thing about rapid weight loss or things like Ozempic is whatever happens to your body is also going to happen to your face. So what they're saying is a lot of loss of facial fat volume. Volume in the face is also going away. And it's not necessarily a great look because everybody knows as we get a little bit older and we're losing volume in our face, we tend to look gaunt, we tend to look tired, tend to look older. And all of those are effects of losing the fat in the face along with losing fat in the body. The other thing with Ozempic weight loss is that it's rapid. And anything that's too extreme and too rapid, whether it's diets, Ozempic, whatever you're doing, a lot of times things don't have time to adjust. You can end up with loose skin. You can end up, again, looking tired and gaunt because your body's losing weight way too fast. Now, the question about being reversible, the answer is yes, it is reversible. Just stopping the medication, sometimes you may not see a rebound of all the facial volume back in the face, particularly if you're a little bit older. So then what can you do? You can do fillers in the face, and then, of course, fat grafting. If you still have fat left elsewhere on the body, you can borrow it from there and replace what was lost in the face.
And that's our show. Find us on YouTube and do subscribe to our channel. See you soon.